Kamusta mga kapong Pinoy? Surprise! Excited na akong imbitahin kayong lahat na manood sa mga laban ko sa Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open.
I'm really happy to advance to the next round. Obviously, it's not in the way I wanted it to end. Nevertheless,
You mentioned the fans there. How much during the game, obviously you're so locked in and focused in the game, how much do you notice outside of the games with the fans cheering you on? Do you really take notice to it, and does it help you through them?
The Alex Eala story nobody is telling you, viral deals, real millions, and the parents who made it all possible. Stop. Stop whatever you are doing right now. Put down the remote, close the refrigerator, and listen to this, because what we are about to tell you on Court Vision Plus today is the kind of story that comes along maybe once in a generation. This isn't about a tennis match. This isn't about a ranking. This is about a 20-year-old girl from Quezon City who just rewrote every single rulebook that has ever existed in Philippine sports history, and who is doing it while the entire internet fights over fabricated headlines trying to steal her thunder. February 9th, 2026. Mark that date in your calendar. Because on that day, Alexandra Maniego Eala, our Alex, the princess of the Hardcourt, climbed to world number 40 in the WTA rankings, officially becoming the highest-ranked Filipino tennis player in the history of the sport. Not just the highest-ranked Filipino woman. The highest-ranked Filipino. Full stop. End of sentence. No asterisks required. But here is the thing, folks. Here is the thing that is making us at Court Vision Plus more fired up than we have ever been. While the real story, the actual, documented, goosebump-inducing, historic story, is happening right in front of our eyes, social media has been absolutely drowning in fake news. Fabricated sponsorship deals worth $45 million. Invented Wilson contracts. Made up Emirates Airlines partnerships with quotes that Alex Eala never said. And here is our question to you. Why are people inventing stories about Alex Eala when the real story is already more incredible than anything they could dream up? Welcome back to Court Vision Plus, your number one source for the tennis stories that actually matter, told the way they deserve to be told. I am your host, and today we are setting the record straight, celebrating what is real, putting the fake noise where it belongs, and then delivering you the full picture of why this young woman is about to become the most talked about athlete in all of Southeast Asian sports. If you are proud of Alex Eala, and you should be, then this is the only video you need to watch today. We are going all the way in. But before we go any further, do us one favor. Hit that like button right now if you believe in Alex Eala. Hit subscribe to Court Vision Plus so you never miss a single breaking story. And ring that notification bell because we post fast and we post first. Now, let's get into this. Let's start with the truth. Because the truth, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely staggering without any exaggeration needed. On February 9th, 2026, Alex Eala cracked the WTA Top 40 for the first time in her career, sitting at world number 40. Let's put that in perspective for a moment. 12 months ago, just 12 months ago, she was ranked number 140 in the world. She was grinding through qualifying rounds and smaller events, fighting for every single point. Then she walked into Miami as a wild card, people, meaning she wasn't even supposed to be in the main draw, and she detonated a nuclear warhead right at the center of women's professional tennis. She beat Jelena Ostapenko. She beat Madison Keys, the reigning Australian Open champion. And then she stood across the net from Iga Swiatek, the woman who has ruled women's tennis like an empress, and she beat her too. In straight sets. A wildcard from the Philippines, ranked 140th in the world, knocked out the world number 2 and did it without dropping a set. That is not a feel-good story. That is a seismic event. She lost to Jessica Pegula in the semifinals, but by the time she walked off that court in Miami, everything had changed. She entered the WTA Top 100 for the first time ever, ranking at number 75. She became the first Filipino in history to reach a WTA 1000 event semifinal. She became the first wildcard in the history of the WTA Tour to beat 3 major champions in straight sets at a single event. She was 19 years old. 19. And what has happened since Miami? She has not slowed down for Hara Open in Mexico, becoming the first Filipino to achieve that milestone. She closed 2025 ranked number 50 in the world, up from 140 at the start of the year, making it one of the most dramatic single-season ranking climbs the WTA Tour has seen from any player, anywhere in the world. Then she opened 2026 and kept pushing. Semifinals in both singles and doubles at the Auckland Open. The inaugural Philippine Women's Open in Manila, playing in front of her own people for the first time as a ranked professional. A run to the quarterfinals of the Abu Dhabi Open where she pulled off a breathtaking comeback win over Alexandra Maniego, down 2-5 in the third set, clawing back to win 7-6 in the tiebreak after 2 hours and 51 minutes of war. And then, on February 9th, 2026, the ranking update hit, world number 40. A brand new career high. The highest any Filipino has ever been ranked in tennis. Ever. So when someone on Facebook tells you she signed a $45 million Wilson deal and showed you a quote she never said, understand what they are really doing. They are trying to make up a story that is bigger than reality. But reality, right now, is already bigger than any story they could ever invent. Part 2, the fake news phenomenon, why everyone is making up stories about Alex Eala. Now we need to talk about this directly, because it is becoming a real issue and the Court Vision Plus audience deserves the full picture. Over the past year, a wave of completely fabricated stories has been circulating on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram about Alex Eala's sponsorship deals. We have seen posts claiming Wilson Sporting Goods offered her $45 million. We have seen posts about Emirates Airlines signing her to a $2 million annual deal with free first-class travel. We have seen posts about a Yonex racket engraved with the words Philippine icon. Every single one of these stories has been debunked by professional fact-checkers, including Rappler and Verifiles, two of the most respected investigative journalism outlets in the Philippines. The Wilson story, for example, which gathered over 103,000 likes before it was debunked, used a photo of a former Wilson CEO who had already resigned 3 days before the post was published. The quote attributed to Alex Eala was completely fabricated. There was no announcement from her verified Instagram account. There was no press release from Wilson. There was nothing. And yet, hundreds of thousands of people shared it as if it were real news. Why does this happen? Because the hunger for Alex Eala to be recognized on the world stage is so enormous, particularly within the Filipino community, that people are filling in gaps that do not actually exist. Her real achievements are already extraordinary, but the combination of national pride, social media algorithms that reward engagement over accuracy, and the simple human desire to see your hero rewarded on the grandest possible scale creates the perfect environment for misinformation to spread. And here is the irony that we at Court Vision Plus find absolutely maddening. The real sponsorship picture for Alex Eala is already impressive and is only going to grow. Globe Telecom signed her as a brand ambassador when she was 8 years old, showing extraordinary early faith in her potential. Babolat, the prestigious French tennis brand that has partnered with Rafael Nadal for his entire career, supplies her rackets. Nike outfits her on court, which is one of the most recognizable brand partnerships in all of sports. The Bank of the Philippine Islands partners with her for campaigns around discipline and financial literacy. And in July 2025, she was introduced as an ambassador for Locally Juice. These are real deals. These are real commitments from serious brands. And after her 2025 Miami breakthrough, industry analysts began predicting that she is on the exact same trajectory as Emma Raducanu, the British star who landed massive endorsement deals worth millions of pounds after her own out-of-nowhere Grand Slam breakthrough. So here's what Court Vision Plus is telling you today: stop sharing the fake stories. Not because they embarrass Alex, she is far too focused on her next match to be bothered by social media noise. Stop sharing them because they disrespect what she has actually built. She doesn't need a fabricated $45 million Wilson deal to be worthy of our admiration. She has already done things that no Filipino has ever done before. Honor the real story. The sacrifice, the real cost of building a world-class athlete. Now, Now we are going to get into the part of this story that will actually make you feel something. Because behind every world number 40 ranking, behind every milestone, behind every viral moment, there is a human cost that gets paid long before any TV cameras show up. And in Alex Eala's case, that cost was paid primarily by two people, Mike and Riza Eala. Riza Maniego Eala is not your average tennis parent. She is a former competitive swimmer who earned a bronze medal at the 1985 Southeast Asian Games in the 100-meter backstroke. She knows what elite athletic sacrifice looks like from the inside. She knows the difference between a child who has genuine world-class potential and one who simply loves a sport. When she looked at Alex, she saw something real. And she and her husband Mike made a decision that would define their family for the next decade. They were going to give their daughter every single chance to find out how good she could be. That decision meant sending Alex to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. In 2018, when Alex was just 13 years old, she and her brother Michael packed their bags and moved to the other side of the planet to train at one of the most prestigious tennis academies in the world. Imagine being a parent and making that call. Imagine the conversations. Imagine the doubt. Imagine watching your 13-year-old daughter board a plane to Spain, knowing you will not be able to hug her whenever she has a bad day, knowing the loneliness she will feel, knowing that you are gambling everything on the belief that her talent is real enough to justify the cost. And tennis is expensive. Brutally, ruthlessly expensive. Coaching fees. International flights. Hotels and accommodation across dozens of countries. Equipment. Physiotherapy. Nutritionists. Tournament entry fees. There is a reason people call tennis the sport of kings. A family can pour everything they have into a tennis career and still come up short if the results do not materialize quickly enough. The financial pressure on the Eala family during those early years was immense. Mike Eala stood as both a business manager and a shield. While Alex was on the practice courts in Mallorca learning to build her game under the eye of coaches who had developed some of the best players in the world, Mike was handling the logistics, the media inquiries, the financial planning, and the pressure from back home. Because there was pressure from back home. There were questions about funding. There were controversies. There were people who wondered whether the investment was worth it, whether the right decisions were being made, whether a Filipino girl could truly compete at the highest levels of a sport dominated by Americans, Europeans, and East Asians. Mike and Riza took all of that noise and built a wall around their daughter so she could do the only thing that mattered: train, compete, and improve. And it worked. It worked at the junior level, where Alex won the Australian Open Junior Doubles title and won a Grand Slam Junior Singles Championship. And then, in 2025, it worked on the biggest stage the professional game has to offer. Alex Eala has spoken openly about how central her family is to everything she does. She said, in an exclusive interview with Tennis 365, "I am lucky that my family played such a big role in my career and they have been so important for me so far. They built the structure for me. They built the path I walked on. That was the start I needed to start my career. For me, family is such a crucial part of who I am and from where I come from. We are so family-oriented." That is not a PR quote. That is a 20-year-old girl telling you exactly who she is and where she comes from. And as her ranking climbs, as the prize money grows, as the legitimate endorsement deals multiply, as the global profile expands, every single thing she achieves is a direct return on the investment that Mike and Riza Eala made when they believed in her before the rest of the world knew her name. The academy that built a champion. You cannot tell the Alex Eala story without talking about the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, because that institution is woven into every single aspect of who she is as a player. Tony Nadal, the inaugural director of the academy and the man who coached Rafael Nadal to 14 French Open titles, has been effusive in his praise of Alex. After her Miami Open run in 2025, Tony said, "For the academy and for me in particular, it is a huge success. She is the girl who has been with us the longest. In all this time, there has never been a single complaint from anyone, neither from her nor from her family. She has shown she has great potential because it is not easy to beat the world's number 2 and number 5 in the same tournament. Once she gets her game right, she could be among the best in the world. Let that land for a moment. The man who mentored Rafael Nadal looked at Alex Eala and said she could be among the best in the world. That is not a courtesy compliment. That is a professional assessment from someone who has spent his entire life evaluating tennis talent. What the Academy gave Alex was not just coaching. It gave her an environment. It gave her daily competition against elite junior and professional players from around the globe. It gave her a rhythm of training, rest, and recovery that elite athletes need to develop properly. It gave her coaches who understood the technical demands of the modern game and could shape her aggressive baseliner style into something that could succeed at the highest levels. And her style is something special. Alex Eala is left-handed, which gives her a built-in tactical advantage because so few professional players are trained to handle the angles and spin that a lefty forehand produces. Her forehand is the centerpiece of everything she does, flat, powerful, struck early, designed to dictate rallies and put opponents immediately on the defensive. Her two-handed backhand provides reliability and counterpunching strength. Her footwork is elite, giving her the rally endurance to survive long exchanges while waiting for the right moment to explode into offense. Analysts note that to reach the very top, she will need to continue strengthening her serve and improve her consistency on clay, where slower conditions demand a different kind of patience. But at 20 years old, with her game still developing and her physical peak years still ahead of her, the ceiling on her potential remains genuinely open. Current world number 40. Projected trajectory, significantly higher. 2026, the year the world fully wakes up. Here's where things get dangerous. And by dangerous, we mean dangerous for every opponent who is going to share a court with Alex Eala over the next 12 months. The 2026 season is shaping up to be the year Alex Eala stops being a feel-good story and starts being a legitimate top 30, potentially top 20 threat. And here is why. It comes down to points, pressure, and freedom. In 2025, when Alex had her Miami breakthrough, she was playing from a position of relative anonymity. Nobody had significant tape on her. Nobody had built a detailed game plan for how to neutralize her forehand. She was the unknown variable, and she exploited that to devastating effect. But the trade-off is that she now has 390 ranking points from Miami that she must defend when that tournament comes around again in March 2026. If she cannot match or better her semifinal result, she will lose those points and her ranking will be affected. This is the challenge that defines a player's growth. It is called the defender's dilemma, and it is where we find out what champions are truly made of. Does the pressure of being known, of being scouted, of being the player everyone has a game plan for, does that pressure break you or does it make you sharper? From everything we have seen from Alex Eala over the course of her career, the answer seems obvious. Pressure makes her sharper. Look at the evidence from 2026 already. The Auckland Open semifinals. The quarterfinals of the Philippine Women's Open in front of her own country's fans for the first time. The emotional weight of that alone would have derailed a lesser competitor. Then the Abu Dhabi Open, where she fought back from 2-5 down in the third set in a match that lasted nearly 3 hours, saving match points and dragging herself to a tiebreak win. That is not the performance of someone who cracks under pressure. That is the performance of someone who is becoming genuinely addicted to the fight. And the financial picture is evolving too. With each ranking milestone, with each major upset win, with each viral moment, Alex Eala's commercial value grows. Industry analysts who cover the WTA Tour have already drawn comparisons to Emma Raducanu's post-US Open 2021 sponsorship explosion, where a single breakthrough tournament transformed a relatively unknown player into a multi-million-dollar commercial property almost overnight. Alex's Miami 2025 moment was her Raducanu moment. The commercial machinery is slowly recognizing what the fans already know. Globe Telecom, Babolat, Nike, BPI, Locally Juice, these are the real partners. And as her ranking climbs and her media profile grows internationally, those conversations will become larger, longer, and more lucrative. Not because someone invented a number on social media. Because she earned it. Her social media footprint has also exploded. Her Miami Open run alone sent her follower count surging by hundreds of thousands across platforms. She is not just a Philippine sports story anymore. She is a WTA Tour story. She is a global sports story. Brands that operate on a global scale are watching. The real deals will come, and when they do, they will not need to be fabricated. They will be announced officially, with press releases, with verified posts, with her smiling in campaign photos. And they will be earned. From Mallorca to the top 40, the legend is just beginning. From a 13-year-old girl who packed her bags and flew to Spain with a dream that most people thought was far too large, to a 20-year-old world number 40 who has beaten the world's best players and carried an entire nation on her shoulders while doing it, Alex Eala is the story that Philippine sports has been waiting its entire history to tell. She has not done it with fake news. She has not done it with fabricated contracts or invented millions. She has done it with a backpack, a racket, a left-handed forehand that nobody in women's tennis was ready for, and a family that believed in her when belief was all they had to offer. Mike and Riza Eala did not just raise a tennis player. They raised a champion in the truest sense of the word, someone who competes fiercely and loses gracefully and gets back up every single time, who represents her country with class and carries the weight of expectation without letting it bend her posture. And as the prize money grows, as the real endorsements multiply, as the legitimate recognition catches up to the genuine achievement, they will see the return on a gamble that was never really a gamble at all. It was faith. It was always faith. To every Filipino fan who shared a fake story because you wanted the world to see how great she is, we understand. We feel the same fire. But you do not need to invent the story. The real story is already the greatest story in Philippine sports history. And it is not even close to finished. Alex Eala is 20 years old. She is world number 40. She has beaten Grand Slam champions, made history at every level of the game she has ever played, and is just now entering what most tennis analysts consider the prime development years for a professional player. The window in front of her is enormous. The opponents ahead of her are the best in the world. And based on everything we have seen, she is ready for every single one of them. The princess of the Hardcourt is not arriving. She has arrived. And the entire tennis world is finally paying attention. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the full story. The real story. The one that does not need to be inflated, fabricated, or exaggerated because the truth is already more incredible than fiction. Alex Eala is world number 40. She is the highest-ranked Filipino in tennis history. She is sponsored by Globe, Nike, Babolat, BPI, and locally Juice. She has beaten Iga Swiatek, Madison Keys, and Yelena Ostapenko. She won the Guadalajara WTA 125 title. She reached the semifinals of the Miami Open as a wildcard. She made her Grand Slam main draw debut at the US Open. She won the first WTA 125 title in Philippine tennis history. She is 20 years old. And she is just getting started. We want to hear from you right now. Do you think Alex Eala cracks the top 20 before the end of 2026? Who is the opponent you most want to see her face next? And which fake news story about Alex have you seen shared the most on your timeline? Drop it all in the comments below. We read every single one, and we are building a community here that is about the truth, about the real sport, and about celebrating what actually happened instead of what someone invented on Facebook at 2 in the morning. If you got value from this video, if you learned something, if you felt something, if you found yourself pulling for Alex Eala harder than you ever have before, then do 3 things right now. Like this video. Subscribe to Court Vision Plus. And hit that notification bell so you are the first to know when we drop the next story, because we are not slowing down and neither is she. This has been Court Vision Plus. We will see you on the next one. Peace.
Alex, congratulations on your win. What is the key for your rhythm and consistency? And I would like to know if you have a ritual or a specific preparation before you go on court.
Sabihin na there was a moment of realization where I thought, oh, ang galing ko pala mag-isip. And Sa tingin ko, it's...
Hello mga kababayan na nandito sa Melbourne. Sobrang excited na ako maglaro dito at sana magkita-kita tayo sa Monday or Tuesday, hindi pa ako sure.